Hello, Super Second Graders. Miss Hutchinson here in my backyard to do some more science with you. I wanted to do this video to help us remember what we've been learning before we went to distance learning. We had been doing activities and readings, learning all about how to describe the things around us. So I just wanted to review those activities and that reading and those vocab terms that we may have learned. Do you remember any of those things we had talked about? You do? Fantastic! During our readings, we learned about two new vocabulary words. We learned about matter and physical properties. Do you remember what either of those terms mean? Let's review really quickly. Matter is anything that takes up space, so everything is made of matter. We can describe that matter based on physical properties. Physical properties describe objects by how they look and feel. Do you remember any of those physical properties? Think back to our very first activity. It was called What Is It? And everyone was paired off and given an object in a bag. One person could look into the bag and try to describe the object and get their partner to guess what it was. Do you remember that? We reviewed some ways to describe objects to help our partners guess what our object was. There are 5 of those that I want to review with you to see if you remember those different ways we could describe objects. Turn and tell someone the ones you do remember before we review them together. Did you get a chance to tell someone? Great, let's review those now. The first physical property we talked about was shape. Perhaps it's a circle, a square, a triangle, a rectangle, or if it's 3D, a cube or a sphere. Then we talked about color. Now some objects have many colors, but others have one main one. Maybe it's easy to pick just one main color. Then we talked about texture, how it feels. Is it hard, soft, smooth, rough? Maybe it's sticky. How does it feel to you? Then we talked about flexibility. How bendy is it? Does it bend? If it does bend, does it stay that way, or does it go back to its original shape? And finally, we talked about state of matter. We looked specifically at whether our object was a solid or a liquid. What do you remember about solids and liquids? Once again, turn and tell someone everything you remember about solids and liquids, and then we'll do a quick review. Solids are objects that keep their shape. They are harder and can be held in your hand, like a shell, a carrot, or a toy car. Liquids are objects that don't keep their shape, but fill a container and can flow easily, like a cup of tea, honey, or a glass of water. Now that we've reviewed our physical properties, I thought I'd give you one more example of a what is it mystery object. I have it here in front of me, and I'm going to use those 5 physical properties that we learned about and we just reviewed to help you try and guess what it is. First off, shape. It's a rectangle, but it's a 3D rectangle, so it's got a little width to it. Color. My mystery object is yellow. We talked about texture. My mystery object is squishy, it's soft, but a little bumpy on the outside. Flexibility. Does it bend? Well, yes, my object can bend, but when I let it go, it goes back to its original shape. And finally, we talked about state of matter. My object is a solid. Think you know what it is? Go ahead and take a guess. I have a few more clues for you because I know sometimes we need a little bit more than just those 5 clues. So I have a couple more clues for you. First, it absorbs water. You use it to clean, and it's typically found in your kitchen. Think you know what it is now? What's your guess? Well, those are great guesses, but it's a sponge. If you got sponge, good job. See how it's flexible, but when I let go, it goes back. Squishy and soft, but you can tell it's got a bumpy texture. Yellow, rectangular, and obviously it's a solid because it keeps its shape. Great job guessing, super scientists. Now it's your turn. Before we meet later this week on Zoom, here's what you need to do. You're going to choose an object at home that you can describe. Then you're going to determine your object's physical properties, like its shape, color, texture, flexibility, and state of matter. Then, be ready to share. When we meet, you will describe your object, and then classmates will have a turn to try and guess what you have. After we take some guesses, you get to share your object with the class. Everyone will have a turn. Are you excited to give it a try? I'm excited to see what you come up with. If you have any questions, look back to the document that I sent your parents originally, or email me and I'd be happy to help. Have fun with it, and I can't wait to see you all. Until then, stay curious, little scientists.